Greetings friends and welcome back to Recon by Fire. For today's match, the Custodes are running the Shield Host detachment. They are running 2 Blade Champions, each leading a 5-man squad of Wardens, Valerian leading a 4-man squad of Wardens, Inquisitor Draxus leading a 4-man squad of Custodian Guard, 2 Alaris Custodians, 2x4 Prosecutors, and 2 Gladiator Grav Tanks. Space Marines are running the Ironstorm detachment. They are bringing a captain in Gravis armor, a lieutenant with Combi-weapon, 2x5 Intercessor Squads, 3-man Aggressor Squad, squad of Infiltrators, a Scout Squad, a Gladiator Lancer, 3 Redemptor Dreadnoughts, 2 Repulsor Executioners, and 2 Impulsors. Mission for today's battle is Romeo. Primary mission is Terraform. Mission rule is Swift Action, and deployment is Sweeping Engagement. For pre-game actions, the Impulsor will scout 6 onto the center objective. Top of round 1 and the Space Marines are going first. They will draw Bring It Down and Establish Locus as their secondaries for the turn. Start of the movement phase, and the Impulsor is going to push to the other side of the center objective. Second Impulsor is going to move forward to get on the Custodes' natural expansion. Lancer is going to move to the corner to get line of sight on the Gladiator. Executioner is going to reposition to capitalize down the firing lane. Redemptor is going to move forward and just peek around the corner to get eyes on the Gladiator. Second Redemptor is going to follow suit, staying slightly behind. Infiltrator Squad will make a slight movement, spreading out. Intercessors that were on the home objective will sticky it and then hop into the Executioner. Start of the shooting phase, and Oath of Moment is going to be the Gladiator Grav Tank. Redemptor Dreadnought is going to split fire into the Sisters and the Grav Tank. It fails to score a wound on the Gladiator, but does pick up one of the Sisters. Second Redemptor will send everything into the Gladiator and brings it down to just 5 wounds remaining. Next up, Lancer will fire into the Gladiator Grav Tank on its side of the board and brings it down to just 7 wounds remaining. Impulsor with Firing Deck will fire into the Gladiator, knocking off 2 more wounds. That is going to end the turn for the Space Marines. They will score 2 points for Established Locus, discard Bring It Down for a command point, and the lieutenant with Combi-weapon is terraforming. Bottom of round 1 for the Custodes, they will draw Storm Hostile Objective and recover assets as their secondaries for the turn. They'll spend a command point and sticky their home objective. Draxus succeeds the leadership check and has Lone Op for the round. Start of the movement phase, and the Wardens are going to push towards the Terraform. Lieutenant with Combi-weapon will reactive move to the other side of the wall. Prosecutors will move into the building to get out of line of sight. Gladiator will hide while maintaining line of sight on the Dreadnoughts. Space Marines will spend a command point to fire Overwatch with the Redemptor, bringing the Gladiator down to just 4 wounds remaining. Custodian Guard are going to push towards their natural expansion and the Impulsor. Terminators are going to reposition behind cover. Start of the shooting phase, the Wardens will fire into the Infiltrators, taking 1 down. Gladiator will fire into the Redemptor, but it rolls boxcars on the saves and takes no damage. Second Gladiator will fire into the Impulsor on the natural expansion. It does take it down, and the Intercessors will emergency disembark on the far side to mitigate the charge. Blade Champion will use its once per game ability to advance and charge, and the Wardens make the charge into the front Redemptor. In a top level play, Space Marines are going to heroically intervene with the second Redemptor, and it will roll high enough to get on the point. Start of the fight phase, Wardens will pop their once per game Feel No Pain and send all of their attacks into the Redemptor off the point. In response, Space Marines are going to AOC using their final command point, and the Redemptor lives at just 3 wounds. Both Redemptors will crack back and fail to take down a single Warden. That is going to end the turn for the Custodes. They will hold on to Storm Hostile Objective and discard Recover Assets for a command point. Lieutenant with Combi-weapon failed to terraform. Top of round 2 for the Space Marines, they will draw Storm Hostile Objective and no prisoners as their secondaries for the turn. They control 3 objectives and will score 12 points on primary. Intercessors are going to disembark from the Executioner and then advance towards the center objective. Impulsor is going to push forward and steal the Custodes' home objective. Intercessors and the Executioner are going to make a move on the Custodes' natural expansion. Second Executioner will take the place of the first. Infiltrators advance towards the center objective. Lieutenant with Combi-weapon will also move towards the center of the board. Lancer will push forward to get better line of sight but maintain the screen. third Redemptor will arrive from strategic reserves to assist with the Gladiator. At the end of the movement phase, Custodes will spend a command point to rapid ingress Valerian and Company to avoid the Space Marines controlling that half of the board. Start of the shooting phase, and Draxus will be the Oath of Moment. The wounded Redemptor will open fire into the Gladiator, failing to score a wound. Second Redemptor fires into the Gladiator and proves to be enough to take it down. It does not explode. Lancer will open fire on the Grav tank and takes it down. That's a huge swing for the Space Marines. The remaining shots fire into the guard and pick one up. Intercessors fire into the same squad, scoring a wound. Executioner fires into the same squad, picking up all the guard -1 and Draxus. Redemptor is last and manages to clean up the remainder of the squad. Time for ongoing combat, and the Blade Champion and 2 Wardens will go into the wounded Redemptor, managing to take it down. It does not explode. Redemptor Dread is going to swing into the Wardens now. They will spend a command point on Unwavering Sentinels to make them -1 to hit. This does the trick with their -1 to wound as well, and all survive the attack. That is going to end the turn for the Space Marines. They'll score 4 points on Storm Hostile Objective and 5 points for no prisoners. Bottom of round 2, the Custodes have Storm Hostile Objective from last turn and draw Established Locus as their secondaries for the turn. They control no objectives and will score 0 points on primary. Start of the movement phase, and the Wardens will fall back from the Redemptor onto the point. Second squad of Wardens are going to push out from cover towards the center objective. Prosecutors are going to advance so they can touch the center objective and steal it, but will not be able to establish Locus. Valerian and Company are going to push through the wall to get line of sight and charge range on both the Executioner and the Intercessors. Lastly, the Prosecutors are going to move onto their home objective to steal it back from the Space Marines. At the end of the movement phase, the Aggressors are going to rapid ingress in for free thanks to the Captain with line of sight on the Prosecutors. Prosecutors ended the movement within 9 inches of the lone lieutenant, so it will reactive move towards the Executioner. Wardens open fire on the Infiltrators and take one down. Valerian and Company will fire into the Intercessors, picking up 2 of them. It's charge o'clock, and the Blade Champion will use its free reroll ability on the charge, and they make the 10 onto the center objective. Second Blade Champion and Company will make its charge back into combat with the Redemptor. Valerian and Company are going to make the dual charge into both the Executioner and the Intercessors. Not wanting to take any chances, Valerian and Company will choose lethal hits and send all their attacks into the Executioner. This proves to be enough, and down goes the tank. It does not explode. Wardens on the center objective make short work of the Intercessors. Blade Champion and Company are up next, and down goes the Redemptor. That is going to end the turn for the Custodes. They'll score 4 points for Storm Hostile Objective and hold on to Established Locus for next turn. Top of round 3 for the Ultramarines, and they will draw Containment and Sabotage as their secondaries for the turn. They control 1 objective and will score 4 points on primary. Valerian and Company are the Oath of Moment, and the lone Redemptor will go Super Saiyan. Start of the movement phase, and the Aggressors are going after the Prosecutors. Intercessors are going to disembark from the Impulsor and move into the building for Sabotage. Impulsor will then reposition further away from all the charges. Infiltrators will continue to push towards the center objective. Lieutenant with Combi-weapon will bravely run away from the Wardens. Intercessors will fall back but remain on the point. Redemptor will move in to make the charge unfailable. Lancer will push forward for better line of sight. Start of the shooting phase, and the Oath of Moment Wardens will pop their Living Fortress. Ultramarines will spend a command point on Mercy is Weakness on the Redemptor. Lancer and the Redemptor both open fire on the Warden squad, picking up 3 of them, leaving a lone Warden and Valerian alive. Executioner is up next and will split fire, sending some shots into the Sisters, taking down 1 of them, and the rest into Valerian, taking down the final Warden and wounding Valerian. Infiltrators fire into the Prosecutors, leaving just a single one alive. Aggressors will make the charge into the Prosecutors on the home objective. Redemptor is going to make its charge into Valerian. It will tank shock, scoring 2 additional wounds. Redemptor is going to swing into Valerian. Custodes will spend their final command point to be -1 to hit and use his once per game auto 6 ability to survive the attack. He will crack back, taking the Redemptor down to just 4 wounds remaining. Aggressors fight the Sisters and pick them up. That is going to end the turn for the Space Marines. They'll score 3 points on containment, and the Custodes tell them to go ahead and score the 6 points for sabotaging in their own deployment zone. Bottom of round 3, the Custodes have established Locust from last turn and draw Secure No Man's Land as their secondaries for the turn. They control 2 objectives and will score 8 points on primary. Start of the movement phase, the Prosecutor succeeds her leadership check and will move on to the point to establish Locust. Wardens are then going to return the favor and make a push towards the Executioner and the Space Marine home objective. Terminators are going to push forward to support Valyrian. Valyrian is oathed, and so he will remain in combat to avoid the Overwatch. Start of the shooting phase, Terminators will fire into the Intercessors, killing a single model. Wardens fire into the Infiltrators and fail to score a single wound. It's charge o'clock, and the Icarus make their charge into the Dreadnought and the Intercessors. Blade Champion and company will make their charge into the Executioner. Terminators have to make sure that Valyrian lives, and so they will send everything into the Dreadnought. Space Marines are gonna AOC in response, but it is not enough, and down goes the Redemptor. It does explode, and the Deadly Mize takes down another Intercessor. Takes a Terminator down to 2 and leaves Valyrian alive at a single wound. Blade Champion and the Wardens choose lethal hits and swing into the Executioner, proving to be enough to take it down. They will consolidate onto the home objective, but unfortunately cannot tag the Combi Lieutenant. That is going to end the turn for the Custodes. They will score 2 points for establishing Locust and 5 points for Secure No Man's Land. The Wardens will begin to terraform the objective. Top of round 4 for the Space Marines, and they will draw Engage on all fronts and Secure No Man's Land. They control 1 objective and will score 4 points on primary. Icarus Custodians are the Oath of Moment. Start of the movement phase, and the Intercessors will fall back yet again onto the point. Terminators will fire Overwatch and attempt to take it down, and it lives! Infiltrators will move on to the center objective. Intercessors will hop back in the Impulsor, then it will proceed to reposition for line of sight. Aggressors will move out of the building but remain on the point. Lieutenant with Combi-weapon will advance away from the Wardens. Lancer is going to reposition to set up the potential tank shock if needed. Start of the shooting phase, and the Infiltrators will pick up the final Prosecutor. Start of the shooting phase, and the Lancer will split fire, managing to take down Valyrian's final wound. Large guns will go into the Terminators and proves to be enough to incinerate them. That's going to end a very strong turn for the Space Marines. They will score 2 points on Engage on all fronts and 5 points for Secure No Man's Land. Bottom of round 4 for the Custodes, they will draw Area Denial and Containment as their secondaries for the turn. They control 2 points and successfully terraformed, scoring them 10 points on primary. Wardens are going to reposition for containment but remain on the point. Second Warden Squad is going to do the same, maintaining control of the objective and getting within range of containment. That is going to end the turn for the Custodes. They will discard Area Denial for a command point and score 6 points for containment. Top of round 5 for the Space Marines, they will draw Cleanse and Recover assets as their secondaries for the turn. They control 3 objectives and successfully terraformed, scoring them 14 points on primary. They're going to score 4 points for cleansing 2 objectives and 6 points for recovering assets in all 3 zones. Bottom of round 5 for the Custodes, they will draw Overwhelming Force and defend Stronghold, which they cycle away with new orders for no prisoners. Since the objectives are not sticky, the Custodes will have to remain in place to score primary at the end of the game, and will simply terraform the Space Marine home objective, scoring them 12 points at the end of the game. That is going to make the final score with paint 57-76 in favor of the Ultramarines. Thank you JT so much for coming out and playing, and thank you the viewer for watching. If you made it this far in the video, please do drop us a sub and smash that like button, as it would really help us out. But until next time, as always my friends, happy gaming.